Jangan lambat-lambat, nanti habis lambat.
Alright, I'm admitting everyone.
The story of GoTechUp begins in 2019 when the world was put to a stop due to COVID-19 and lockdowns were initiated all around the world. The world advances almost overnight with the demand of computer science, coding, and programming skills accelerated rapidly. Exploration is the call of education. With the lockdown, we realized that we needed a platform to bridge the gap and to experience robotics.
We would like to introduce you GoTechUp. GoTechUp, we want to enable kids to learn robotics through play, to provide our kids an opportunity to build a new way of thinking in this landscape. GoTechUp is positioned to create a platform for everyone to learn and to close the gap of the education for the newer generation.
Join us to improve, to discover, and to innovate. Together, we are the architects of the future. The story of GoTechUp begins in 2019 when the world was put to a stop due to COVID-19 and lockdowns were initiated all around the world. The world advances almost overnight with the demand of computer science, coding, and programming skills accelerated rapidly. Exploration is the call of education. With the lockdown, we realized that we needed a platform to bridge the gap, to teach, to learn, and to experience robotics.
We would like to introduce you GoTechUp. With GoTechUp, we want to enable kids to learn robotics through play, to provide our kids an opportunity to build a new way of thinking in this landscape. GoTechUp is positioned to create a platform for everyone to learn and to close the gap of the education for the newer generation.
Join us to improve, to discover, and to innovate. Together, we are the architects of the future. The story of GoTechUp begins in 2019 when the world was put to a stop due to COVID-19 and lockdowns were initiated all around the world. The world advances almost overnight with the demand of computer science, coding, and programming skills accelerated rapidly. Exploration is the call of education. With the lockdown, we realized that we needed a platform to bridge the gap, to teach, to learn, and to experience robotics.
We would like to introduce you GoTechUp. With GoTechUp, we want to enable kids to learn robotics through play, to provide our kids an opportunity to build a new way of thinking in this landscape. GoTechUp is positioned to create a platform for everyone to learn and to close the gap of the education for the newer generation.
Join us to improve, to discover, and to innovate. Together, we are the architects of the future.
Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum to everyone that are joining in. Good morning to everyone and welcome to our Demo Day Beginner Pack launch session. So before we start our session, I appreciate if the attendees can go to our chat box and register yourself in the pin chat. So there is a link to the registration form. This is with regards to the information that we needed to give the trial ID after we ended our demo day session. So if you wanted to add your questions in the chat box, feel free to do so. We will try to answer as much as possible as we have 3 speakers with us today who are experienced and charismatic leader. All right. So I will introduce you our transformational leader, Miss Aina Rosli, the CEO of TechUp Group. So Miss Aina loves for education began when she took part in the student exchange program in Nagoya, Japan, and thereafter when she continues her studies in University of Melbourne, Australia. So as a Bachelor of Commerce graduate, Ms. Aina began her career as a strategist in Sime Darby before jumping into managing treasury fund within the group and fundraised more than $1 billion during her tenure in Sime Darby. All right. So Ms. Aina, alongside with Mr. Lok Kafai, co-founded their first business together in robotics education, which was successful acquired by a leading publisher in Malaysia. All right. She is also a highly driven professional. Ms. Aina continue her finance profession as an investment banker, managing large international institutions and multinational corporation in Malaysia in Melbourne, investment banker. Right. So after a few months of being stay-at-home mom, this mother of two took the challenge to lead TechUp group and transform the group and traject the growth of GoTechUp as an educational software solution from Japan all the way to Australia. And next is our guest speaker, Mr. Lok Kafai. Mr. Lok is currently an IoT specialist. He is one he had been in the TechUp group technology advisor, supervising the technology development in GoTechUp. So in his early days, Mr. Lok began his career in Infineon Technologies as a process engineer and thereafter in Hewlett Packard in Singapore. So after his work in Hewlett Packard, Mr. Lok embarked his entrepreneur journey in education and managed to sell his business to an IPO company. So Mr. Lok has ventured his work in IoT as an entrepreneur, 5 years as an system integrator, and again sold his business. So our next excellent guest speaker, Teacher Muhammad Fadil from Islam Hira Kelang Primary School. So Teacher Muhammad Fadil has graduated from University Malaysia Sabah with a bachelor degree in Information and Communication Technology. So with over 5 years of experience in teaching students in robotics and coding, he has been awarded as Icon Innovation Myris Malaysia Research and Innovation Society National Level. Also, he is a certified Google Educator, Level 1 and 2, and Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert. So in Islam Hira Kelang Primary School itself, have been active in robotics competitions and program involved in Lego Education, Rero Robots, Math and Coding Challenge, My Doing workshops, and Minecraft Education. So around 19 robotics workshop have been organized by Hira Kelang School itself. So without further ado, why are you here and what is our agenda for today will be consists of sharing session by Mr. Kafai on the industrial needs on coding as a basic skill. And Ms. Aina Rosalie will be sharing on the introduction of GoTechUp robotic simulations. And Encik Muhammad Fadil will be sharing us on his first-hand user perspectives. All right. Before we start, I will tell you a little bit about our TechUp group. So TechUp was founded and established in 2018 by the founders with a mission to contribute and develop STEM education scene in Southeast Asia, and also a sole distributor of artech.co Japan. So with the shift of education scene, TechUp has emerged as a software developer in 2020 and began developing gamified robotic simulation software, GoTechUp featuring Artech Robo. So without further ado, we'll begin with Mr. Lok, who have his vast experience in education, IoT, and artificial intelligence as an industrial panel in University Malaya. So I welcome you, Mr. Lok, to talk about the needs of coding as a basic skill.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hamizan. Thank you everyone for coming today. So it's really appreciate everyone to be here and this Saturday morning, right? So today, thank you for the opportunity for TechUp to give me say a few words on the industrial needs and why we need to emphasize on coding inside education, based on the changing landscape of
of the industry. Oh yeah, great. I can find it. Okay, so like always we hear in the market, in the radio, in the economy landscape, they are saying that Industrial 4.0 is coming, Industrial 4.0 is here. What actually Industrial 4.0 means, yeah? So to really deep dive in Industrial 4.0, what it really means is the Industrial Revolution fourth time. So if it's the fourth time, there will be 1, 2, and 3, right? So if we look back to the history, Industrial Revolution actually appears in 70s, late 70s, when we all find how steam power engine appear. And in the 80s, late 80s, we find electric powered motors and bye-bye to steam powered. So can you imagine the shift of steam powered to electric powered? To make a steam, you actually need to boil something in every single place to allow the steam to create a pressure to move something. With electric power, you don't need the boiler anymore. You just plug in your electric as what we know now. And in the 90s, we have found the computer. And from the computer, can you imagine that back then, people handwrite the accounting, debit and credit books and try to match it now. But using computer, we are able to make sure that what we key in is appear in the debit and credit note. And in this stand, the fourth revolution is on the internet. So technology has always been a driving force of our transformation. And no doubt the fourth revolution, the biggest finding that impact the whole world is internet. And as you can see in a layman's term, internet, how I would describe is the human knowledge is at your fingertips. Why? Because for example, my wife, she don't know how to cook something, she will just go to YouTube. If I don't know how to fix the change out the tire, apologize. So high advanced in software, but hardware I'm a bit weak. I will go YouTube and find the answer from there. So literally, in a sense that every knowledge, every question you have, you actually seek from the internet. The pool of knowledge of humankind at your fingertips. So with such a powerful tools, how we want to integrate to industry, how we integrate in the businesses, it's no doubt it's a revolution to all of us lah, right? Oh, okay. So in a global trend, if you look at the picture on the left here, back in 90s, every robot in front will have a human standing in front, trying to put some metal in the machine there and trying to get it mold by stamping it. So in this point of era, we can actually put every human there to be a robot. Sounds scary, tapi if you feel that it's scary, what if you think about the operator in front? Because if it's an operator in front, you can only stand 8 hours a day trying to put the metal piece to be stamped, right? It's very mundane. And because of such shift, it will not be so boring to do, mundane to do the work. You, instead of putting the metal, you can actually program the robot, how it moves, and you can actually make it much more interesting as an operator role. Okay, so with this shift, the new economy that we are talking about is actually knowledge-based economy. The more you know, the more you understand system, the more you can do programming, the better you are. Because all this putting the mundane job can be done by a machine or a robot. So in that itself, we look, education has a gap. If we are still teaching people to do things like teaching maths or teaching science as the same way 30, 40 years ago, That is why we need to do some changes over there. So like everyone say IoT, AI, ML, wow, what is that? Very simple term. Back in the 90s, 30, 40 years ago, for me, maybe I start with floppy disk. Some even start with, I can't remember the black disk name. Oh. And my kid today, they don't even know what is CD. Okay. They thought it's a plate of shiny thing can play around. So in the 90s, if you look at it, every computer have to install an application software, Excel, Word, or any game that is. They sell you a CD so you can install. And if I want to transfer data, I use a thumb drive. But today, as itself, all the software is installed inside cloud. And from the cloud, it can be used around the world. Malaysia, yeah, you're right, Mustafa, it's called floppy disk. Thanks. So if you install a application in the server in a cloud, you can actually use by around the world, Malaysia, Singapore, New York, be everywhere. And all the things like you do in Excel and your colleague or your peers do in Singapore, all will place at the same place in the cloud. And when I ask for some Excel file, in your daily life, do you actually take a thumb drive anymore? In fact, thumb drive is going to be obsolete. And that is happening every day around your day. If you don't believe this is coming, that is happening in your daily day. Okay. So with that in mind, and if you work in a large corporate, there is something called RPA. Okay. Maybank have it, Maxis have it, all the GLC have it. This RPA is a virtual robot where it help you to put in invoice, all that. And then after that, all these invoice, we can actually use AI, ML to actually analyze what is overspent, and then you can see from there. So the future of working is very different already. The current way of working is very different. The future, I don't know how it will be even more advanced than this, right? So when I talk to, because I'm very involved in industry on IoT, when I talk to AWS, Microsoft people, hey, how if I want to find developer to do this app, how is it? Is Malaysia hard to find? Or I need to go to overseas, example, India or Australia or some other country to find. To be frank, their feedback to me is one thing. It's very hard to find cloud engineering. It's very hard to find a solution architect, very hard to find a very, very good IT manager. And all this is very high paying job. Why? Because with these rapid changes, if all the skill that is needed is really the thinking problem skill, self-thinking skill, structured thinking skill, all you learn from programming is all mapped to all these things. Even though you don't do programming, all these things will require as a baseline knowledge. Because like I said just now, if you do accounting, you somewhat need to know how the software to do. So you can explore whether the software can do this thing more to help you. So that is the current landscape on industry. So transformation is inevitable. How we do things will be changed. And it's the future, it will be very, very bright, because if I today make one app, I no need to go JNT, go DHL to send this thumb drive installer to every single one. I just upload in cloud, and then the whole world can use your application. And this is the exciting era that we are in. Any 7-year-old boy can make a game and change the world. Facebook start from a teenager kid from Harvard, college bunker, try to make this Friendster app thingy to share inside the campus. Heck, now is everyone using it. So if we look at this, if I talk to my client, I will say, if you are an organization, I will ask you, have you start your digital transformation plan? Have you prepared for these changes in the organization? If you're an employee, have you tried to understand coding? If you're an employee like me, like your colleague. If you're parents and kids, my question to you is, are you somehow plan your kid to prepare on these changes, how to do things? Or are you still doing the same thing? Are you still teaching them using book or using iPad? Are you still teaching them? If you use iPad, are you how to control the teaching of iPad to be much more beneficial to them? Because all this will be part of the future, and this is where we are heading. So I did some homework. If we look at 2013, based on the data, because I'm an IoT, every day I look at data. So when we talk to data in 2013, the job of robotics, AI, all that has 4.5 times more than right now. And it will be continuous go. Like I said, if I want to find a cloud engineer today, I throw $10,000 for finding job posts, nobody come back. Trust me, I experienced it before. Okay, not the $10,000, but you post anywhere, it's very hard to find this job role. And that will continue going. So with that in mind, if you look at all around the world, 75 countries already have some policy. The first one in US, 2014, US started STEM Act education. STEM education as an act, meaning they put a law saying that there's a STEM education inside their country. Okay, and that is the first country that do it. Okay, and all the way 75 country until in Malaysia, if I'm not mistaken, 2020 or 2019 already have, right? So all the policymakers in around the world also identify this. Cloud will be part of your life. WhatsApp is using cloud. Yes, it's part of your life long time ago. Okay, and this will only continue more and more. And that's why robotics and coding education will be all the way inside. The fun fact is when I do this, I search when robotic education in school start. It's actually 10 or 15 years ago, to be frank. So 10 or 15 years ago, someone already selling toolkits teaching how to do coding in school, right? So if we take it further, we ask the parents, how important is this technology? We do a survey. How important is this technology learning for your kids? And the answer is only majority is 2. Extremely important, very important. Very little say somewhat and not very important. Because imagine the era that when we write a code in somewhere in the corner of the earth and we publish in the cloud and can impact millions of people. That opportunity can only happen in this era, and we live in a very exciting era. So learning a part of that, even though you don't want to be a programmer, learning a part of that will actually help you how to navigate in your daily life. So that's why I really feel today is a self-reflection. I also self-reflect on me. I look at my kid. How to teach Jane technology? How is it wait like my time? I wait until university time only I learn coding. and burn midnight oil how to understand the coding from my engineering years? Or is it start from age 12, right? Age 7, or even kindergarten on how to actually slowly, progressively learn the way through on this thinking skill that is everyone need. That is something we all should ponder and should think about. What is our digital transformation journey today, right? So I think it is something that we all should take away, we all should know, and this should not be ignored, because if we go back to the first slide that I shared, the industrial revolution of electric, if everyone using electric and you're still using a steam engine, can you imagine the vast difference of it? And if I take that same scenario and put inside today's, if everyone has all the data connected to cloud and you're still using your thumb drive, plug into your colleague's computer or pass to your colleague and ask them to do analytics for you. Ask them to say, how much is the sales today? How much enrollments of your kids today? Draw a pivot table using Excel. So slow, when the new way of doing is some computer already help you find the answer already in a second, like Google, right? So that thing is inevitable. And with that, that is something I ponder and we should ponder. And with that, I will pass that to Ms. Hamizan to continue the talk. Ms. Hamizan?
Thank you so much, Mr. Kafa, for the wonderful insight on how technology could transform education scene and the benefits and also importance of robotics and coding could nurture the students and kids skills to digital economy. So our following exciting sharing session, I welcome you, Ms. Aina Rosalie, for the introductory of our GoTechUp robotics simulation.
Thank you, Hamzan. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, thank you very much for choosing to be with us on a Saturday morning and to look in the insights of our latest software, GoTechUp version 2.0, featuring Artec Robo. So before I start, I would like to thank Mr. Kafai for highlighting the need of coding and robotics education. And exactly that is why we saw gaps in the industry. Hamizan, can I share my screen instead? So if I can share my presentation. Okay, so exactly that is what we have identified as the gap in the industry. And we have been doing robotics education since more than a decade ago in Malaysia. So understanding what's happening in Malaysia, we see that there's a lot of catching up to do. And in robotics education specifically, because of the robotic tools and kits being typically manufactured by as a manufacturer-driven product, a lot of the teachers and a lot of the users actually struggle to get a structured progression. Hence, that's why there's a lot of fragmented syllabus in the market, causing a lot of discrepancies in terms of progression from one coding language to another and one robotics kit to another. So that's one. And two is teacher skills were limited. Yes, there's a lot of interest. Of course, if you look at the niche of the niche, you will see there are very passionate teachers, very passionate students. But of course, they reach a certain level where adoption became delayed on certain organizations due to the gap in the skills required. And of course, the education tools is actually not that cheap. So if you ask most of the schools in Malaysia, to own a robot set back 5 years ago, a school have to fork out up to 3.5k ringgit, and sometimes even 10,000 ringgit just for one set. And that one set is basically after the school have invested, they put it inside a rack because it's just too expensive to be given to the students to use. So this is one of the biggest reason why a lot of the centers, a lot of the schools, a lot of the parents did not invest in education, in robotics education too, because of a mere high price that is in the current market. And of course, after COVID, after lockdown and the distance learning, students are becoming more entertainment-based learning. The engagement starts to decline. Hence, there is a need to close the gap through having an interactive learning experience to continue to get the students interested in learning. So these are all, of course, we can talk about gaps. There's so many gaps in the market, which poses as an opportunity for us. So when lockdown happened, of course, a lot of us were thinking, what's next? Do we wait and see what's going to happen? Do we be a follower? Or we ourselves take that opportunity and turn it into something and craft into something that we want. Hence, exactly that is what we did. We created our own game. We did try many things to bridge the gap. We did try using Scratch. We did try using creating our own software, and ultimately that progress of development lead us to developing GoTechUp. Okay, so GoTechUp essentially is a software where we put in all the structured lessons in a place where we can delegate the knowledge-based learning, creating a structure, allowing the students to take charge of their own learning and their own progression. But at the same time, we are giving the opportunity for teacher to understand the key learning and do the necessary intervention plan. So it's selective intervention, facilitation concept, rather than spoon feeding, this is how you do it, this is how you do it. So this is the way, the new way of learning, the new way, because the kids are now more progressive in a way because they have been exposed to technology. Most of them spend more than 5 hours a day playing Roblox, for example. Yeah, Roblox is creating game and all. But if we think about it again, are they using the correct platform? If the teachers are creating a safe environment within Roblox, using Roblox education, then there is a certain progression that is there. So similar to that, what we're trying to do is essentially ensuring that the robotics progression is structured, fundamentals is built correctly, and for them to thereafter explore robotics education. Okay. So the learning and the modules that we have presented inside GoTechUp featuring our Tech Robo inculcates thinking skill, meaning in the missions, there are multiple answers, multiple thinking process, higher order thinking skills that the student have to incorporate to be able to solve certain missions. And with that, we also incorporated a gamified learning solution where the student will continuously be engaged and enjoy learning coding and robotics. Virtual robotics. So this is our new way of learning robotics and programming education with GoTechUp software featuring our Tech Robo. So I can show you all these pictures, snapshot. You might feel like, oh, okay, all right. But I think I would like to bring you to our live version software, which is in the web. So if you can see, this is our website, GoTechUp.com, go-techUp.com, where we place our software 2.0. Oops, sorry. Okay. Let me just log in. So today's launch is actually for our beginner pack, which is level 1 to 20. Let me just log in.
Ms. Aina, I cannot see the.
Oh, sorry. Let me share the screen, full screen. Are you able to see now?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Uh-oh. Missing one E. Too many A's in my name. All right. So this is where we are. So this is what you should expect when you start with GoTechUp Beginners Pack. So essentially the first beginner level. So we impute all the levels and progression within the system. So from here, you will have each learning objectives identified for each of the level. And the grade out area is intentional because we want to make sure that the student understand the fundamental. So the software is actually built to simulate Artec Robo, hence it's GoTechUp featuring Artec Robo. So the programming elements inside here, you can see the tutorials, the kids will be able to understand. So what we have identified after running the program internationally, mostly 8 years and above will be able to continue on their own, self-learn and self-progress through the tutorial that is being shown. So, but for those that is below 8, they may need some guidance from the teacher in terms of what is expected and what they should be doing next in terms of the block functions. Okay, so for each of the level, there will be only one objective, 1 to 2 objectives that we want to emphasize. And that's basically the learning progression that we put in place. Okay, so there will also be reviews. You can skip the tutorial here and then you can start. So it's a drag and drop similar to Scratch 3.0. So this is also how students will program if they are using the physical Artec Robo. So this is what you will be expecting, a drag and drop concept. All right. Yeah. So, and then change the speed. Okay, so, and we start. Okay, so it's a 3D simulated program where you will be able to see how the robot function and gamify. Next level, and then you should be able to see level 3. Same thing. Then you will see level 3 is now unlocked. So this is what students have experienced in their game daily entertainment program. So what we have input here is actually that gamified element, so that the students will feel that, oh, this is fun. I want to go to the next mission. I want to go to the next mission. I want to finish this mission, right? So that is the gamified element. But for teachers, you can see here that we have identified all the learning objectives as part of the deliverable. Okay, so from here you will be able to see like, oh, for level 3 student A, B is not able to achieve 100. Maybe we should deep dive what is the issue there. So these are some of the things that we have put in place to assist teacher in terms of doing selective intervention on coding and programming lessons. Okay, so as part of the beginner's pack as well, we have one level. Let's see, I can just write this down. We have one level that actually consolidates all the learning in the beginner. So this is what we call as the test level. So this test level will basically confirms the understanding and the fundamentals that have been built throughout the levels that the students went through. Okay. All right, so that's GoTechUp version 2, beginner's pack. So this is something that we would like to launch in Malaysia. So we should be able to have access to this beginner's pack by end of this month. Hopefully everything goes well. Okay, so this is the slide that I want to show you. All right, okay. Hamizan, is it okay? All right, so what's in the pack? So what's accessible? Of course, we have the whole progression. If we give the whole 1 year program, what we've identified after launching it internationally is that it's just too much to be adapted in one go, because some of the students get too excited and then they just went like continuously do in a day, which what it's not that we don't encourage, it's just that we would like them to, we would like the communication between the teacher and the students to happen, and the correct intervention plans to be in place before they progress to the next level. So this is some of the things that we have identified internationally, and we feel that in Malaysia we should test a different, this is the test a different method, and hence we are launching Beginner One Pack only in Malaysia. And additional functionality that we find useful in Malaysia is actually the multi-language capability. So we do have, if you notice in my screen sharing just now, a Malay function. So Malay function allows for even the block to be represented in Bahasa Melayu. So a lot of the students today, the gap is also in the language that is being used. The deliverable of the class, if it's run mostly in English, they will find it difficult to grasp because they, one, have to understand what the teacher is trying to say. Two, they need to try to understand what is the lesson that is trying to be taught. So this multi-language capability was put in place to assist teacher to bridge the gap. And this is something that is very famous internationally because the target that we're looking at here is primary and secondary school, whereby most of the students speaks their first language. So we have launched this in France. So we do have French language if you are a French local speaker. We do have it in traditional Chinese, and of course, being the benefit of being a Malaysian product, we have Malay as one of the first translated language. Okay, so bonus, the feedback that we have gotten from all the teachers is that they need more support in terms of supporting the students, and we are creating a teacher's guide for the levels that we are creating. By 30th September, it should be able, we will be given free to those that actually purchase our beginner pack. Okay, so I can show you the beginner and intermediate program that we have. So this is what we will be launching across throughout the year. So as your student progress, you should be able to get the full set. These are all unlocked because it's a unlocked pack. Okay, so I'm just showing this to show you that there is that progression that we intended, right? And intermediate 2 and advanced. So advanced right now is in alpha testing, so that's why it's not visible here. Okay, so we've got everything here, different themes for different levels, different pack. And the beautiful thing about our software program is that we have a whole ecosystem ready all the way into competition. So the whole idea here is not to replace the hands-on robotic physical learning. The whole idea here is to be a hybrid solution whereby we can cut short, we can plan the deliverable, the learning lessons to be able to integrate as and when the learning environment change. Okay, so this is what we have thought together with our partner in Japan, Artecco. So if you are an existing Artec Robo user, you will know that Artec Robo is a holistic solution. It starts from preschool with all the lesson plans and all the lesson progression ready, to primary solution, beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and thereafter expert level, which is to the college and university usage, Python and Artec Robo. So age is not a determinant here. What we are trying to focus here is actually on the progression, where you can start, where if let's say you have experienced the physical robot before, is it advisable for us to go into virtual? My answer to you is yes, because ultimately it strengthens the fundamental of programming. But what we are trying to show here is that it's a hybrid solution. It enhances because robotics education covers two elements, which is the programming and the hardware. You can get the program to function, but it doesn't mean you can get the program to function on the robot that you have created because the mechanism might not be functioning correctly. So these are some of the elements where when we separate it, we realize that there's a lot of variables that is in place that should be able to be addressed to build a proper fundamental. Okay, but of course, being Asian, we like competition. So competition is used as a pillar and a marking point where the student is, where the progression is. And somehow this is where the student gets more excited because they can get a set fee, or they can get gifts and presents for being the top in the country or the top in the internationally. So since 2019, our GoTechUp have been conducting national level competition physically. And because of the lockdown, we have converted the physical competition into online through our virtual robotic solution. And Alhamdulillah, we managed to garner more than 500 students the first year that we launched. This was a very sped up development because the moment that we found out and we discussed with Artec back then, they were like saying, this is good, go ahead, you've got they are more than happy to support. And that's where we are, because we would like to create this as a year-on-year solution and platform for everyone to participate. And Alhamdulillah, for 2021 this year, we managed to get we managed to get 5 countries to participate in our international URC virtual robotics competition, being France, Hong Kong, Japan, Australia, and Malaysia. And the finals is going to be next week. So that is a big responsibility for us to carry. And we hope everyone will come and join us and support our international competition. Our representatives from Malaysia will be joining the competition as well. So this is some of the things that we developed we started off as just a normal teacher center, very small, wanting to develop robotics education in Malaysia. But as we progressed and the situation changed, we tried to adapt, we tried to grow, we do our own transformation journey. And this is where we are today. And we hope we can support everyone through this journey of change. So this is GoTechUp version 2.0 featuring Artec Robo Beginner's Pack. We will share with you our lesson plan. I guess I speak too much of it already. The whole reason why we invited Cikgu Fadil is to give his honest feedback. So the good and the bad, because anything that is bad, to be very honest, we take it very, very seriously. And that is what we will put emphasis on to continuously develop and continuously change to grow our software. Okay, thank you so much again for spending your Saturday with us. I end my session today and I pass it back to Hamizan. Hamizan, you can take back the slide control. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Aina. I hope all of the attendees here gain as much as information that you have received from our CEO sharing session on our GoTechUp robotic simulation software. So now we have one more session with our guest speaker. I welcome you, Cikgu Fadil, but this time around we will be having a casual interaction. So I will be asking first round of questions to Cikgu Fadil. So Cikgu, how did you find our GoTechUp software, and what is your first impression on our GoTechUp robotic simulation software?
Okay, thank you for the questions, Mrs. Nur Hamizan. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Qala rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. First of all, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the management of the GoTechUp and TechUp Learning Kids Neighborhood. Mrs. Havizan as the moderator for the sessions, Ms. Aina Roslies as the CEO of TechUp Group, and also to Mr. Lohkafai, IoT Industry Specialist, TechUp Group Technology Advisor, for providing this opportunity, this golden opportunity, and invited me as an invited guest to share related my experience in using and delivering coding and robotics learning using GoTechUp programming software, as well as robotic equipment and others related activities regarding the topics. I also extend my warm welcome to all honorable guests present at this session. Thank you for your precious time spending with us on the sessions. I hope that within these sessions, we can further increase our level of understanding as educators and also parents of the importance and benefits of STEM education, specifically programming and robotics in our kids or students' life nowadays. An action that has to be taken to prepare our young generation for their future. I also want to apologize if I am not able to continue to speak in English, and I would like to have your permission to proceed in Malay. Nevertheless, I will try my best to speak English throughout the session. Okay. Alhamdulillah for the question. How did you find our GoTechUp software? Okay. Alhamdulillah, I have been given the opportunity to use and experience various products to facilitate the teaching of coding and robotics in schools, in my schools, as well as to participate in competitions at the national level. Thank you to my school administrators, parents and guardians, and students at Sekolah Rendah Islam Iraq that who have always provided strong support in expanding knowledge skills to cultivate interest in coding and robotics since the primary levels. Okay. Among the products that my students and I have explored over the past 5 years, from 2016 until 2019, Lego Mindstorm, MechaBlock, Rero, DJI Telodrone, Arduino and Microbit microcontroller, and Rover 4x4 3D modeling and 3D printer. Why I am exploring all these technologies? It's none other than to provide exposure and give my students the widest possible opportunity and experience to prepare them and participate in responding to the challenge of the 4.0 industry revolutions. Okay, so long shot, almost forgot to answer the questions. I just want to share my experience. Okay, so given by I almost forgot to answer the question given by moderator. I think it's better to answer this question in chronological form. I first come across an advertisement about this Artec Robo on Facebook at 2019. Okay, at that time, I was still looking for a product that could be in line with the needs of the national education curriculum that could be used in formal classes that involve all students at a lower cost and had a structured syllabus level. Yeah, from 2016 until 2019, this is something that always triggering my mind to explore more, so that I could deliver to the best opportunity, the best curriculum to suit with my students at Sri Hira Club. Okay. So my dream is to create a coding and robotics curriculum that can be learned by all students starting from the basic levels in my school especially. So currently the KPM has uh, has uh, uh, has the syllabus about robotic and coding in the starting from year 4 till year 6, yeah, using coding and physical computing microcontroller. So I think this is the time lah. uh, I need to move faster to adapt with this possibility. So after seeing I want to go back to the moderator questions. So after seeing the ad, I immediately contact the TechUp learning kits to discuss more about this, and that's when I first met with Mr. Kahfai at my school lah. After discussing in the computer lab, I decided to join the Robot for School program, which is one of the TechUp Learning Kits initiative in helping schools provide basic exposure to coding and robotics. Okay, so maybe it will explain later lah about this initiative provided by the GoTechUp, Robot for School program. Alhamdulillah, the program went smoothly with the participation of about 40 students. Yeah, because my computer lab is not bigger. It's just capacity about maximum 40 students. But it's very bad. So I need to adjust the number of the students to join the event. Thanks to Miss Atika and her partner for helping run this program. Okay, at 2020, the pandemic hit our country, also the world, causing me to shift my focus. The first focus is to develop the curriculum, right? But it shift my focus to be a facilitator, or okay, to be a teacher capacity building training, to provide capacity building training for teacher in my school using the G Suite for Education distance learning platform, which I have prepared for access to teachers and students and started since 2018 because I feel my responsibility as a Google certified educator level 1 and level 2. So my school also have to commit with the online learning or remote learning, for the survival of my institutions. Okay, it is now or never time, as all school community are currently required to accept these changes and make the transformation to digital education to continue the education of students in these private educational institutions. This was a challenge for me. At this time, I took on the responsibility of educating 300 teachers who mostly consist of senior teachers who were not familiar with the use of computers and certain applications for online teaching and learning. And of course, for its action and implementation, we provide feedback that needs to be scrutinized and needs to be improved in terms of aspects of online learning management. Alhamdulillah, in 2021, okay, Sekolah Hira decided to change to a more structured and stable learning and teaching management platform that is Microsoft Teams. Alhamdulillah, until now, students and teachers have been able to adapt well to online teaching and learning. So, all this year, I am determined. On this 2021, I am determined to participate in one of the national level coding and robotics competition to challenge and hone my already planned abilities. It has been a year since I implemented any coding and robotics programs at my school. Yeah, because I focus on the shifting the paradigm of my school teachers from the traditional learning to digital learning using the ETF, using the Educational Transformation Program provided by the Microsoft K-12 Education. So it is a progress I have to do to survive the education and the needed for my my community, teachers, parents, and students. So what I do when I choose the GoTechUp. So I immediately contact the GoTechUp secretariat, Miss Shida, to get more information regarding the program organized by GoTechUp in 2021. I participate in the GoTechUp workshop to learn the basics about operating the GoTechUp simulator. Alhamdulillah, while I and 17 of my students managed to take up the challenge to learn coding and robotics online using GoTechUp version 2.0. Okay, version 1.0 or 2.0. I don't know about the version very much. Maybe Miss Anissa can explain about it, because I just going to the simulator GoTechUp version and participate in the URC 2021 competition, which was organized with 13 people only at the qualification level and 4 students in the finals. So that how I get I know about the GoTechUp software. I first communicate with the GoTechUp at 2019, and later contact with them also at 2021 and joined 2019 I joined the robot for school program, and 2021 I joined the banquet or workshop, and later I provide the training to my students in online platform using the GoTechUp simulator. Okay, thank you. thank you. Maybe I pass to the.
That was a very impressive feedback from Teacher Fadil. All right. So basically, how else can GoTechUp support you as a teacher in delivering robotic or coding class?
How was? Okay. Okay, but okay, all right. For me, thank you, Mr. Mizan, for the questions. That is a good questions for me. I will try to answer that. Okay, for me, GoTechUp has made it easier for me in providing explanations related to the basics of coding and robotics by using this simulator, because every step that we run in the GoTechUp simulator, it will pop up. It will pop up the step by step about regarding the features in the simulator. So the students, when we try to explain to the students, we try to explain by our voice and the features or the appearance at the simulator will pop up with collaboration with our mouse lah, yeah. So there is a synchronization like when we deliver something, the students will hear and the student will also see about the actions, and the student will see the progress. So it is very easier for me to explain to the students, and the students also easier to understand about the block coding that is very similar to the Scratch, yeah. Because at the year of 4 in KSSR syllabus RBT, the student had need to learn about Scratch, yeah. So in year 5, they need to explore more. They need to use they need to use the physical computing, using the scratch or make a block software, and also microcontroller to do the task. So okay, so I came back to it. Okay, so this simulator, it is based on block coding similar to Scratch. It also supplies step-by-step tutorials in problem solving. In addition, students can also learn coding and robotics according to their appropriate time with minimal supervision from teachers and parents. So we can do it in a synchronous and synchronous learning time. Yeah, because we practice it when we doing our online teaching in PDPR, we apply this asynchronous and synchronous. Yeah, asynchronous where the students and teachers not meet at the real time. Maybe they can chat, and maybe the student chat now, and the teacher will give feedback later. While the synchronous, we do the live teachings, the students and the student and teacher can give feedback at the real time. So we apply this. So in this simulator also we can apply, because I training my students to have self-regulations, which is one of the global competency in global competency at 2021 global competency that has to be built in my student or our students nowadays, because this skills is very crucial to have by them, yeah, because to have by them because the information now is very faster, and maybe today's information is not relevant to them for the use of the future. So they need to have the self-regulation, they need to have the lifelong learning journey, they need to have the self-esteem to learn more, yeah, not to have to this spoon feed, not spoon feed by the teachers, but then we have to create the self-esteem from the inside of the students to learn more. So with this simulator, with this program, yeah, okay, my job as a teacher is to facilitate students to master the basics of coding well. When students know how to plan programming and understand the use of each block and make programming from start to finish, make tests and make improvements on programming to complete missions in GoTechUp, we are actually helping our students to inculcate and apply the skills of self-thinking. Yeah, where is the self-thinking process done? When they have to decide what to do and when to do, and also why they have to do, yeah, the big why also come from their intrinsic value. Okay, but they also will apply the problem solving, yeah, logical thinking, structured thinking, computing skills, as well as communication skills that are much needed now and in the future, as said by Mr. Kahfai. Okay, I think I hope it will answer the questions. Okay, Mr. Hamidan.
Thank you so much, Cikgu Fadil, for the fantastic insight and also feedback based on your experience on our GoTechUp robotic simulation software. So on behalf of TechUp, we actually learned a lot from you, and we hope your first-hand user experience will be a fruitful journey to your students and also to your school for you to use our GoTechUp robotic simulation software. All right, Cikgu?
Okay.
All right. All right, so now it's time for the attendees. If you have any questions, we'll be open up our chat session for you to ask our three panel speakers here.
Actually, while waiting for that, I am very grateful for Encik Fadil to say that lah, because when we
Oh yeah.
appreciate it, because when we were developing GoTechUp, Aina asked me actually, should we make an interactive platform, so macam like a Facebook like that we interact masa buat the coding, or should we just make a tutorial based, macam mana nak buat do the programming step by step. So then we have a very long discussion. Kenapa we were always contemplating some other, it really need a teacher face at there to guide them, or we really give instruction if gamified element inside to teach them. So which one? But when we talk to Artec, when we talk to the Japanese people, they will always say it to us that the learning is your own responsibility. Pembelajaran anda is your tanggungjawab sendiri, you know. So when we see that, we really immediately that is decided lah. Kita akan buat the gamified tutorial so that they will learn at their own time. So memang our intention, memang Encik Fadil has said it out lah. So I'm very glad.
Yeah. Thank you, really thank you for highlighting that. I think as we develop, as we get caught up with our own the demand of the market, we sometimes lose sight on why we started certain things. So by just Cikgu highlighting that portion, I remember a very lengthy discussion and arguments in regards to this, because I guess a lot of people want that live, think that the live version is a more interactive and a more high demand. But when you think about it, when it comes to education, it's all about you. It's all about our own joy, our own progression. We are always against ourselves when it comes to education. So apa yang kita nak cari, whatever that we want to search, whatever that we want to learn, it's up to us now, because the learning and the information is everywhere. So what we're providing here is actually a structure. Hope that it's useful to make the foundation, make the fundamental correct in terms of sparking the excitement in learning coding and robotics. And I think Cikgu also highlighted about how it is similar to Scratch. Okay, I think the whole intention here, ramai orang tanya, ini Scratch ke? Okay, so we just wanted to highlight, we are here to simulate the robotics learning. So the reason why we use Scratch is to ensure there's easy adoption, and also because Artec Robo uses Scratch 3.0 in their software, Studino. So this is one of the contemplation. So coding, yes, you look into coding, you look into Scratch 3.0 2D version, but what we're doing here is actually moving towards programming robotics. So like I mentioned before, it's actually a hybrid solution that we are looking forward to. We are not denying hands-on learning. We still look very, and we still believe in hands-on learning as one of the very important elements of development.
Okay, Aina, there's a question in the chat. Was Was the syllabus created to cover the whole year, academic year?
Okay, to answer your question, beginner's pack covers up to 3 to 6 months, depending on how you space out the learning. But the whole GoTechUp featuring RTech Robo is to cover up to 36 hours of learning, which is equivalent to the whole academic year. I hope that answers your question. But this is only on the virtual robotics. So if you look into the RTech Robo, there's an added academic year that comes together. Sure.
Sure, anything.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Tam here. Actually, I just say to my background, actually, I've been teaching robotics for, actually it's quite long ago in my previous school. I agree with Miss Aina say that a lot of schools are not spending so much money investing about all this kind of the set things. I remind back when 10 years ago, I attended the course of wax robotics. Actually, I already finished the certified as a robotic teacher. But in that school, only I teaching for that class about 3 years, because I also a normal science physics subject teacher. And after that, they added extra time for me to teach robotics. So I share my experience for secondary school students. I found out is that the majorities, they have two sides. Like example, in my previous robotics set in my school, my previous school, they one have the hardware part and one is software part. Hardware part, normally the majority girl group are doing very well, doing very fast. And for software part, you can see the boy group are doing very well in this. And I found out from here is it, because it's not in our mainstream of curriculum, is it? Like example, for one set of robot, is it, I need to take more than 3 months to complete.
Wow.
Okay, then one more thing, because it's after I left the school from here, is it, you know that skill is almost 10 years, so that I almost half of them I forgot. I had to recall all these things from here. This other school which I going through, they didn't spend so much things for invest about this kind of robotic set from here. Because it's my current new school, they asked me to attend this course to find that the suitable program and all these things from here. That's why I attend this course from here. I just want to ask a few questions from here. Is it this the software, is it by yearly basis, or first question is by yearly basis, or second from here is it, I see some hardware section for that, is it, I really like the hardware section because it's not just like so many company from here, is it, you only can do about 10 models or 20 models only. This is just like some kind of the Lego, you can using student creativity to do a different type of the model from here. And actually in my teaching also, as a mainstream of the science teacher from here, is it, I also corroborate this kind of the robotic in my science learning. Means that, like example, maybe they learn moment of force at time, is it, means that it's more easy that they apply the knowledge in the robotic. It's not think that robotic is other separate subject. Okay, I need to attend course again. You know that when you go to secondary student, they have the things. If you ask them to show up the computer from here or just showing this thing, is it, because they almost every day playing this kind of game. So that I like that one is, you say that you have some hardware for them to learn. This is the thing from here. I agree with that. The cost is very high. I know mistake. My first school who sent me to the training, the whole set is, I think, more than 100K. Then actually,
It is.
second,
To be very honest, both Kafai and I have experience on Lego and Vex, and now we are venturing.
I finished the course of Vex. You know the.
Oh, that's robotic, right?
So you've seen Mr. Kafai before in Vex?
No, because my times I finished Vex is 2012.
Wow, even before.
They say that because I'm the teacher are going to miss that my mainstream is not robotic teacher. Actually, I consider a science teacher, but what happened, I interested in robotics, so that's why I attend the course for that. So because even currently, I go to a few international school teachers, they just say that robotics is some advantage only, but actually it's not what I can say is not the mainstream for them. They just think that
So
I just want to think that correlate between robot and the normal science subject together, that when they learn that time is not very boring or that. This is something is my idea from here.
You need to join us on our product launch for Artec Robo. Okay, so let me just share with you if I can, Hamizan, if you can go back to my progression on the virtual.
Because I checked your website from here, you have what we call the set, the software set of three types. One is the free trial, and then one is the second, then one is the Swiss trial. These kind of things.
So let me just we're still in the progress of updating our website. So our development of progressive syllabus for virtual robotics is GoTechUp version 2.0. So if you're looking for a progression on hybrid learning, then GoTechUp together with Artec Robo is really the perfect solution. That's exactly what we're trying to look into. So Artec Robo is actually manufactured in Japan, and it's a Japanese module development that have been developed since 2007, if I'm not mistaken. So how they started is exactly that. They are the manufacturer of educational products in Japan. So they started off as maths and science, and then they wanted to venture into robotics and coding. And then they start to realize that why do we need to invest in so many materials, product material tools, just to deliver something that is supposed to be holistic? So they did exactly that. So Artec blocks have syllabus that covers maths, science, and robotics and technology. So if you look at the second part here from preschool to Artec Robo Education, Artec Robo 2.0, this is the exact progression. So if you purchase our set for the school, the module for teacher will be provided for free. So all these blocks that I showed to you, the logic puzzle, the remarkable robots, the step-by-step, you can imagine how Japanese are when it comes to lesson plan. It's very detailed, how long you should be spending here, what other things that they try to deliver, everything is full as part of the education set. So to answer your question, how we GoTechUp software support that, GoTechUp software is providing a solution to whenever virtual learning starts to come in place. So where you begin, you can start from preschool using the blocks, meaning hands-on blocks, to teach maths, to teach logic puzzle, to teach offline programming. And then there's also a module to program and do the mechanics without programming, just the mechanics on the function, like what you mentioned on the science physics. So that is also part of the whole holistic solution that is provided by Artec. Hence, that's also the reason why we feel that this collaboration was a very strong collaboration, because both parties always prioritize on the education. In fact, a lot of the program that we've developed, they were the first to feedback in terms of how suitable it is, how it collaborates, and how it connects back to their Artec Robo set. So to answer your question, yes, we do have the physical robot. Our preschool robot, one set begins half of what Lego price is, 1/5 of what Beck's price is. So the same set you can just add on as your student progress. You don't have to repurchase the program, the brain or the parts. You can just buy add-on as you go along. So it gives a very good solution for schools, if you ask me about it. We just started bringing in Artec in 2018. We did a very strong awareness program through Robot for School, whereby if you join to learn, if you bring in 40 to 60 students to learn Artec Robo, we will give one set free together with the module for the school. So that is what Cikgu Fadil was sharing with you earlier in 2019. We are still running the same awareness program, Robot for School Online, where we use GoTechUp version 2 to teach students, GoTechUp, basically GoTechUp version 1 or version 2, I can't remember. But the whole intention is still the same, to deliver awareness, to ensure that there's a trigger of excitement in terms of students learning coding and robotics. From there, they learn the virtual world already. Once you have enough number of students, the set will be delivered to the school, and the students can actually have a hands-on experience on the robot set itself. And the teacher will be provided with the module, the learning progress, where you yourself can take charge of how you want to bring the robotics learning in your school. So that is part of what we do starting 2019. And now, because of the lockdown, we have give birth to another virtual robot, but our mission is still the same. Our mission is to ensure Malaysia and Southeast Asia have exposed and is backed up in terms of the STEM education. So we provide that solution. If you want a syllabus for maths and science, we have it. You can just PM me after this. I will reach out to you, and then I can share with you on the physical robot where you can help bridge the gap in terms of your robotics in school. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you from here. I agree with that from there, because sometimes the purchasing power is not just like our as a teacher have the power to do all these things from here. Right. These are mainly from
the school spends so much. Sometimes they like so scared to even give the kids where use the robot.
And from that, because like example, when start the robotic class, I still remember my first school, which is I get the training for, they have to using the special room to store all the products and the software part and also hardware part. Then the problem found out is especially from here in the software part from here, is it they think they want to install to the every set of the computer of the student, or they want to put in the school, because my Rex they all is the software charged by yearly basis.
Okay, here. I have not answered that for you.
So because from here they only use the school computer for using the software of that. So that's why mainly they are sharing this kind of software. Then in certain company they have a free source and all these things from here. Then the kind of things from here. So actually, main from here. Actually, as a teacher, I just looking to, like example, as a 3-year teaching. But in robotic, I only have 2-year teaching. But normally, if you say that normal class lesson, I'm more than that. But normally, if you want to tackle the student get interested, have to both two combine together with what they learn and plus the robotic together. Normally, they will have the initiative to learn on their own. I agree with just now what you say from here. Normally in robotic, we are not just like the class is teaching here and there. We just put there, put all the instruction tools. They have to do it on their own. Yeah. Then when they facing problem, the time we go to them and consult me, we are not doing anything at all. Yeah. Mainly we just walk around and consult me.
No, it's good.
I agree with you. I also do that all the time.
Yeah. It's good because in working life, you don't know, you search Google, nobody will guide you.
Mr. Google is your mentor.
Yeah, correct.
But to answer your question on the annual fee, okay, for beginners pack, it is for the virtual, it is licensed on a yearly basis per student user. But for the Artec Robo, the software is free. So the moment you purchase, the software and the module is free. So that's to answer your question.
Sorry, maybe a bit too much question from here. I just want to ask, for example, in certain times we can ask you to come to certain area or certain school to do a presentation. Are your company okay with that?
Yeah. Our robot for school before online, we actually travel all the way into Felda. We are more than happy for that. That's what we do.
Okay.
So if the
because mainly for us
allow,
to tell all this advantage of that is not that convenient for our.
Yeah. That's true. So for us, before COVID, before the lockdown, our team was all over the nation, and most of the schools that we serve is actually outskirts schools. So we go all the way into Sabah and Sarawak, Felda, Johor, Mara. So that is actually where we feel the biggest impact is going to make the biggest difference that we're going to make. Hence, also the initiative that we have put in place, which is Robot for School.
Yeah, I remember
Okay, thank you.
Aina telling me her staff traveled one Malaysia in 1 year.
Yes, during that time, it's really everywhere. Yeah. So if the situation already allows for us to cross border for outsiders to enter school. Right now, a lot of the limitation is actually for outsiders to enter school. So a lot of the virtual sessions happening right now. So what we do is we do consultation via virtual.
Cool.
Maybe we try. I will arrange for it, but I think because I don't need travel so far because my school just near UK and Bangi.
No problem.
Huh?
No
Next week
problem.
also can.
Okay. Actually, they more prefer than the school open back the time you all had just I just maybe in case the time that you want you all to do some presentation with my maybe school principal, school director, all these kind of things.
Not a problem.
It's
at all.
more useful compared only I don't want here because
Yes.
they send
You
me
need to see the
set.
set also, right?
Yeah. But namely for them, they are the one who purchase one.
So even like there are certain schools that the principal or the management does not have allocation. Not to say that they are not supportive of robotics, but they do not have allocation. That's also where our Robot for School initiative comes in, because we split, actually what we do is we split the cost of owning a robot to each of the students. So everyone have a piece of it, and the school held responsibility, and everyone is already aware on how to use it. So you imagine having 60 students already have the awareness, and the teacher already have the syllabus to teach, and you have the tool in front of you. So there is no more excuse with the Robot for School solution that we cannot progress. So we've already made it as simple as that for most of the school to take that one step towards having that awareness in robotics learning. So I hope that helps. Any more questions from the floor? All the Artec Robo that I share with you, we do carry it in Malaysia. We have it. We have not made public of the whole product yet. A simple reason because when we first bring in the whole product, then suddenly COVID happened. When we were just about to launch the first Artec Robo education set, we managed to brought it to more than 200 schools. And together with Yayasan Petronas, we managed to go all the way to Sabah and Sarawak. But unfortunately, because of COVID, and also thankfully because of COVID, we managed to pivot into virtual. So now is the time that we want to bring it back. So if you are interested in the product, the physical product, please feel free to come and PM myself or Hamizan. And if you want to see how the product is being used, you can check out TechUp Kids Learning website. You can check out TechUp Kids Facebook and YouTube. There's so many videos of where we actually went to schools to deliver the Artec Robo sets. By them joining the Robot for School online and Robot for School sessions. Okay, so I'm not sure whether there's any more questions, Hamizan, any more that was directed to you?
As of now, no.
All right, so I think let's I think it's already 10, we've already
Yep,
taken too much
alright.
of everyone's time.
Let me recap everything. So I wanted to thank you so much for everyone for attending this demo day. Also, all right. So this is the team. So meet our team behind the development and also the competition organizer for our TechUp group.
Really made in Malaysia.
All right. So as we ended our session, please do respond our feedback form for you to entitle the beginner pack lesson plan trial demo and also our voucher for classroom bundle. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. All right,
you.
let's end for the session today. Thank you so much again for your participation, and please feel free to reach out to us, and please share your honest feedback and what features that you would like us to incorporate as we continue to develop and improve our system. That's one of the questions that we have inside the feedback form. So we've pinned the forms here as well inside the chat, and if you can just scan, we will share with you the beginner's pack guide lesson. All right, we will end the session today. Thank you so much again for the participation, and thank you so much, Cikgu, for being here with us today and for the honest feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Take care,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank
Bye.
Stay safe.
Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Bye. Assalamualaikum. Thank you.
you.